January 8, 2020. Two Hellfire missiles destroy a convoy carrying Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. 7 intelligence disciplines. 4 military services. 3 continents. Weeks of preparation. Now ask a harder question. What happens when the target relocates in 15 minutes and the electromagnetic spectrum is saturated with jamming? That question is the reason the broad battlefield network exists. The greatest vulnerability in the American military is not a weapons gap. It is a communication architecture built by separate bureaucracies over 7 decades, never designed to interoperate. The Army built its tactical network for ground forces. The Air Force built its network for air operations. The Navy built its for fleet movements. The intelligence community built an entirely separate infrastructure. These systems were not just different. They were architecturally incompatible. The Army uses variable message format packets over radio links. The Air Force relies on Link 16, a time division protocol with a maximum throughput of 115 kilobits per second. The Navy uses the cooperative engagement capability, a specialized waveform completely incompatible with either service. Intelligence agencies use a separate classified network with its own encryption and access protocols. The result is a military that can dominate any single domain but struggles to coordinate across domains simultaneously. An Army commander who identifies a critical target cannot directly request a Navy strike. He must send a report up his chain of command to a joint coordination cell. The cell translates the request, authenticates it on the Navy's network, and transmits it to the ship. Under ideal conditions, this takes 20 minutes. Under combat conditions, hours. An enemy that understands this kills the target and relocates before the strike arrives. The stovepipe architecture does not just slow the kill chain. It creates exploitable gaps measured in minutes that translate into missed targets and lost lives. Joint All-Domain Command and Control, JADC2, is a fundamental restructuring of how the military collects data, processes it, and acts. The concept operates on 3 words. Sense. Every sensor in the military's inventory feeds data into a common transport layer. A soldier's thermal camera, a submarine's sonar, a satellite's infrared sensor. The transport layer carries information regardless of source or format. This is the broad battlefield network. Makes sense. Raw data from millions of sensors is fused using artificial intelligence. A radar return from an AWACS aircraft is cross-referenced against a signal's intercept. It is also compared against a visual identification from a soldier's display and a pattern of life analysis from a satellite. The AI produces a single confidence-scored track representing the best understanding of the target. ACT. The system identifies the best shooter across the entire joint force. It routes targeting data directly to that shooter regardless of service branch. An Army soldier identifies a target. The AI determines a Navy Tomahawk is the fastest option. The data is translated, authenticated, and transmitted to the ship. The cycle compresses from 20 minutes to seconds. Each service is building its contribution. The Army calls theirs Project Convergence. The Air Force, the Advanced Battle Management System. The Navy, Project Overmatch. But the real challenge is at the boundaries between them. Let me walk you through a single piece of tactical information traveling from a soldier's eyeball to a global strike. 5 layers, each transforming the data. Layer 1 is the soldier mesh. The manette from the previous episode. Range is 3 to 5 kilometers. Data is raw. Thermal detections, camera feeds, position reports. Only the immediate squad can access it. Layer 2 is the company and battalion gateway. The platoon's edge compute node connects to a more powerful gateway radio. It performs data thinning. Instead of transmitting 12 separate thermal detections, it sends a single composite report. Enemy platoon, 12 dismounts, grid coordinate, direction of movement, confidence score. 10,000 times smaller than the raw data. Layer 3 is brigade and division aggregation. Multiple gateways feed into the battalion operations center and up to brigade headquarters. Here, the soldier's data merges with signals intelligence, satellite imagery, human intelligence, and open source analysis. The thermal detection is confirmed by satellite, validated by signals intercept, and contextualized by pattern of life analysis. The report becomes a multi-source validated intelligence product. Layer 4 is theater level. The product travels via satellite link to the theater operations center. It enters the JADC2 fabric, tagged with metadata, and made available to the joint force. Army, Navy, Air Force, and Space Force commanders access the same fused intelligence simultaneously. Layer 5 is the return path. The most important layer that people forget. The fabric does not just send information upward. It enriches information at the top and pushes it back down. The soldier who detected a thermal signature now receives an updated classification incorporating intelligence he could never access from his position. His display might show not just 3 dismounts, but 3 dismounts from a specific enemy unit executing a reconnaissance in force. The data went up raw. It came back enriched. In seconds. An infantry squad on a security patrol detects vehicle-sized heat signatures in a tree line. The AI classifier analyzes thermal profiles, turret geometry, and radar antenna configuration. Classification: SA-22 Greyhound Air Defense System. Confidence: 91%. A red diamond with a 4-kilometer threat ring appears on every display. The squad leader taps a single button to designate a time-sensitive target. Within 5 seconds, the system auto-generates a standardized target nomination and transmits it to the battalion. Within 15 seconds, the battalion cross-references against satellite imagery and signals intelligence. A radar emission from the same location was intercepted 12 minutes ago. Multi-source confirmed. Within 20 seconds, the Brigade fire cell queries the JADC2 network. The AI evaluates every available shooter across all domains. Army ATACMS missile 4 minutes. Navy Tomahawk 12 minutes. Air Force F-35 3 minutes. Army Coyote loitering munition 90 seconds. The AI recommends the Coyote. Fastest, lowest collateral risk, no aircraft exposed to the air defense envelope. The commander approves. Within 30 seconds, the Coyote launches. At 45 seconds, the squad illuminates the target with a laser designator. The Coyote's seeker locks on. At 1 minute 15 seconds, impact. The soldier's thermal sensor confirms a massive heat bloom. The threat ring collapses on every display. Within 90 seconds total, battle damage assessment imagery travels up the network. The theater updates the common air picture. Every coalition aircraft receives a revised threat map. A suppressed close air support mission is cleared to proceed. One soldier with a helmet sensor started the chain. A loitering munition from 4 kilometers away ended it. Satellite intelligence validated it. The brigade commander authorized it. Every pilot in the theater benefited. That represents the ultimate vision. Every sensor connected to every shooter. Every domain accessible from every echelon. The kill chain compressed to the physical minimum. It is the most ambitious military communication project in human history. But ambition and reality occupy different territories. The broad battlefield network assumes persistent satellite connectivity. In a war against China or Russia, those satellites will be targeted. When the link goes down, the 90-second kill chain stops entirely. The system assumes interoperable data standards that do not fully exist yet. Translation gateways introduce latency and create failure points. The AI assumes reliable classification, but a classifier might confuse a civilian vehicle with a similar thermal profile. False classification propagating at machine speed through a 90-second kill chain is not theoretical. It is existential. And finally, the system compresses human decision-making to a point where meaningful deliberation becomes impossible. When the commander has 30 seconds to approve or deny, he is ratifying the machine's decision. If the machine is wrong, 30 seconds is not enough to discover the error. Speed kills. But speed without judgment kills indiscriminately. The faster the kill chain, the less room for doubt, hesitation, and moral reasoning. The qualities that separate a professional military from an automated killing machine. Soldier Borne Mission Command began as a sensor on a helmet. It ends as a node in a global kill web connecting the infantryman to satellites, submarines, and bombers. The technology is extraordinary. The tactical advantages are overwhelming. But the hardest questions are not technical. They are human. When the 90-second kill chain produces a catastrophic error, who is responsible? The soldier? The AI? The commander? Or the architects who decided 90 seconds was enough time to decide whether someone lives or dies? These are not engineering problems. They are civilization problems. And we are building the machines far faster than we are building the frameworks to govern them.